Hello and welcome to Cooking by the Books. I am Jill Allen, and this month we are going to be making some quick and easy appetizers. Now I know the holidays are going to be different this year, thanks COVID, but that doesn't mean we don't have to have our own little party at home with just our family. And for me, a party means finger foods and appetizers. I'm a big fan of having just an entire dinner of finger foods. My kids love it. My husband loves it too. So today we're going to make 3 very simple, very tasty appetizers. We are going to start with Gorgonzola bites. This comes from a book called Party Appetizers, Small Bites, Big Flavors. This recipe is almost ridiculously simple. It uses puff pastry that you buy at the grocery store. You can get this in the freezer section. Also, sometimes you can find it near the refrigerated pie crust section, especially during the holiday time of year. It also uses 4 ounces of gorgonzola and a little bit of black pepper. So let's get started. It asks us to roll out the puff pastry, and I'm going to roll it on a floured surface. Now, if you buy frozen puff pastry, you should take it out and let it come to room temperature. That'll make it a little more pliable. Otherwise, it would be really brittle, and we don't want that. So we are going to lay it down, cover it with our cheese. I'm telling you, this one is super simple. All right, let's spread that out. Get it all over there. Put a little black pepper on it. All right, very easy. Let's cover it with a little plastic wrap, and this will allow us to take a rolling pin and sort of just smush that cheese into the surface of the pastry. All right. And then we just cut it into bite-sized pieces. I've got a fancy pastry wheel, which I'm going to use to do this. You could also use cute little cookie cutters or just a knife and cut it into squares. So I'm going to trim the edges off because I want to be all a little extra and fancy here. All right, here we go. And then we're going to just go ahead and make little squares out of this. I love a hot, cheesy appetizer, especially with blue cheese. I think it's very comforting. All right, and you'll see this makes quite a few. I might be making some of these a little on the large side. That's okay, my family will still enjoy it. All right, and then we move this to a parchment-covered cookie sheet. And then we toss this into a 350-degree oven for about 12 minutes and see how that turns out. Now these can be made up to a day in advance. Let's just say you were, wanting to make a little spread with a lot of appetizers but didn't want to spend an entire afternoon on them. You could make this the day before along with a couple other things. All right, let's just get these all in here. I'm trying to give a little room between them because the puff pastry will expand a bit. All right. Yeah, you can see I've got all different sizes going on. It's okay, it gives it a more rustic look. All right, I'm gonna go put that in the oven for about 12 minutes and then we'll be right back. Oh boy, these look really good. They smell really good too. You can see how they puffed up and the cheese has gotten a little golden. We're gonna put them here. Ooh, a little hot. And then I'm going to put them on a platter. This is kind of silly. I picked some garnishes from my garden. I still have kale and sage growing. Not much else left though. All right, hold on. Oops, some of these are flopping down, but they'll still be good. All right. Ooh. Hot, hot, hot. Out of the way. I'll show you our lovely platter of gorgonzola bites. Dare I try one? They look really hot. Smell really savory. Very buttery from the puff pastry. Cheesy, little salty zing to it. Quick and easy. I recommend these. The next recipe we're going to do comes from Magnolia Table, a collection of recipes for gathering, and we are making a baked brie. Now this recipe looks really good and it feeds a larger crowd than I'm feeding, so I am actually making half the recipe. But I'll tell you what the ingredients were for the whole recipe. It called for a 1 pound wheel of brie. I found this cute little half-pound wheel. A stick of butter, got half a stick here. Half a cup of brown sugar. We have a quarter. It called for a cup of chopped pecans, and it asked you to toast them ahead of time. So we've got a half a cup of pecans here. I toasted them in a dry pan on my stove. Now toasting the pecans will bring out their nutty flavor and just make it a little more pronounced. It's always a good thing to toast your nuts before you put them in a recipe. It's one way to be a little extra, add a little more professional tone to it. It also calls for 6 Granny Smith apples. We've got 3 of them and some lemon juice. So let's get started. First thing is to put your brie in a pie plate, and I have this really cute little pie dish that I love. And then we will mix the brown sugar in with the butter, which should be slightly softened, but I could have probably softened that a little bit more. Let's get that all mixed together. This is going to be really good. Yeah, the apples will be the healthy part of this appetizer. Now, whenever you're making a bunch of finger foods, it's never a bad idea to have some cut up vegetables or fruit on the side, especially if you make cheesy appetizers. It kind of cuts all that extra fat and adds a little healthy aspect to it. All right, so we've got this all mixed together nicely. Again, easy appetizers is the name of the game this month. So then we will mix in the pecans. I also think mixing in some cranberries would be a nice touch here, but we'll stick to the written recipes. All right. Next step is to top the brie with it. This looks healthy. All right, let's just get it all on there as neat as we can. And then it goes into a 350-degree oven for about 15 minutes. All right, let me get that in there. Set our timer. While that's cooking, we are going to chop up the apples. Okay, so this is kind of the fun part. You can chop up the apples just using a knife and slicing it like we all do. But I am a gadget queen, and I've got a couple different ways of chopping apples. So we can core them and slice them, or we can use the handy apple slicer. I feel like this is gonna make the slices a little thick, but let's just go ahead and see what we've got here. Yeah, those are a little chunky. We might want them a little thinner. So let's just go ahead and make more work for ourselves and risk our fingers. So we've got this way. The next way we can do it is using our handy little apple core, which will allow us to just pop the core right out. Pretty cool, huh? And then we can slice it any way we want. Ooh, I think this way is winning for sure. Okay, or you can just do it the old-fashioned way. Slice around the core. And then just section it off. Well, it's all personal preference. So then we need to juice the lemon and toss the apple slices with the lemon juice to keep it from browning. So let's do that. My knife is getting a little dull. I've got this handy juicer. I use this practically every day of my life. It's got little measurements on it. Super simple for when you're juicing just 1 or 2 lemons. You know what, we're just gonna juice up both halves because my next recipe actually uses lemon as well. So we'll have it done ahead of time. All right. Super, let me grab a bowl. We can toss these apple slices with a little lemon juice. Oh, I should have picked a bigger bowl. Such is life. Let's just get it all in there to keep it from browning. Granny Smith are nice and tart, so they will go really well with that very rich, sweet brie that we'll have coming out. All right, we'll just let that sit there until the brie is done. All right, this is hot out of the oven. Looks really gooey, and I mean that in the best way possible. So I'm gonna go ahead and place it on a larger pan. And we will arrange the apples around it. Oops, this one wants to go in. Well, I guess that's the one I will sample first. Okay. All right. Oh, that's looking cute. All right. I wanted to just take the knife and stick it in there, and can you see how cheesy and gooey it is in there? This kind of seems like a cheesy caramel apple dip. I'm betting that brown sugar and butter, the pecans, are caramel apple-ish. I'm a little afraid of the heat though. It smells really good. It's got that definite scent of brie, which I love. All right, let's see. Mm. This is really good. It does taste kind of caramel apple-y. You can really taste the pecans in there as well. This should be served warm. You would not want to make this in advance. You might be able to heat it up later, but I bet it just will never be as good as it is fresh out of the oven. All right, we'll be back with another one in a second. Our next recipe is a tapenade dip. This comes from the Silver Palette cookbook. Now the Silver Palette is one of my longtime favorite cookbooks. It was actually the first cookbook I ever acquired, probably more than 30 years ago. Anyways, this is a great dip. It does not have any cheese in it, so I am departing from our earlier theme. It calls for half a cup of black olives, quarter cup of green olives, 4 anchovy fillets, 2 tablespoons of tuna packed in oil. This is going to give it a really rich umami packed flavor. It calls for a clove of garlic, quarter cup of olive oil, tablespoon of lemon, quarter cup of mayo. And the recipe called for a cup of basil. I did not write that on my list when I went grocery shopping. I came home with a sprig of it. My garden is no longer producing basil, so that's what we're gonna roll with today. And we will also be serving it with these lovely little endive lettuces. So this is really super quick and easy. We throw it all, most of the ingredients into the food processor. In go the olives, capers, tuna, anchovy fillets, basil, and the garlic clove. Let's add some of our lemon juice. And we'll blast this quickly. Get this all mixed nicely. Drizzle in the olive oil. Makes a nice fluffy dip. And then last step is to stir in the mayonnaise, which you can see what that's looking like now. Let's just go ahead and lightens it up a bit. Not the most appetizing looking dip, but I bet you it's gonna taste delicious. All right, now this dip can be made up to a week ahead and kept in the refrigerator. So you don't need to make it at the last minute. We're gonna go ahead and in our little serving tray. And then let's go ahead and cut up our little lettuce here, which is going to be perfect. So these are very crisp. This is a great winter lettuce. They also have a little bitter edge to it, so I like it. Not everyone's a fan. They're wonderful, sturdy scoops for dips. You can see you get a lot of these little dips in each head. All right, well, keep chopping the edge off. All right, let's go on to the next one. That one's a little messy. Just keep chopping and opening them. They kind of look like tulip bulbs. Here we go again. here we go. You can see how pretty that looks. But now it's time to see if it tastes any good. Let's see. I'm gonna take a little one. Take a nice scoop of it. This would be really lovely if I had bought enough basil to garnish it with some basil slivers as well. Live and learn, you know? All right, let's see. You can't even smell the tuna in it. It smells like olives and olive oil. A little bit of a briny edge. Must be from the capers. Really tasty. I would recommend this. To wrap up what we've done today, we've made 3 very easy, very quick appetizers. We started with the easiest of all, the Gorgonzola bites. You can see about half of them have disappeared already. My family swooped in, they needed to sample it. They gave it a thumbs up. We also made a baked brie dish. This is really yummy. And you know, after we made it, it occurred to me that you could make this in advance, you just couldn't bake it in advance. You could probably set it up a couple days ahead with the topping and cut the apples, put some juice, lemon juice on them to keep them from browning, and then right before you wanted to serve it, bake it. And then we also finished up with our olive tapenade dip. All very easy and quick to make, and will be served to my family for dinner tonight. It's going to be appetizers for dinner. I hope everyone has a very happy and safe holiday this year. In spite of everything, good food certainly helps. Thank you for watching today.